Real Plumber reacts to this old house. What they get right and wrong. Now, millions of people trust this show for their home improvement advice, and for good reason. They do great work. But sometimes what works in a controlled TV environment is very different from what happens in your house. Today, we're separating the TV magic from the real world reality. For the homeowner and DIYer, this video will help you understand the crucial details that often get left on the cutting room floor. For my fellow plumbers, we're going to have a professional discussion about the techniques shown and why they might not always be the same choice on a real service call. So let's roll the clip and see what happens.
Got the sink here, Richard.
All right, perfect, good. Well, I got a chance to peek around down here, and you are in luck. You've got a washer and dryer down here, so it means we've got hot and cold water, which is great. We've got a washing machine standpipe right here. Now this standpipe comes down here and goes down into our drain. Now at this point, the water goes down into the drain. From at this point and above, though, this pipe is a vent, and that's a really good thing. We often don't see this in basement applications.
What's a vent do?
Well, without that vent, this drain would gurgle. So what happens is it breaks the vacuum, so that water will go down the drain. So it's a really good thing that it's there. One thing I did notice, this drain is about 26 inches off the ground. Now when I look over here at this set tub, this is what? About 18 inches, okay? Now, if I just cut a fitting like this, just a little bit lower down at 18, now technically from this point to this point is no longer a vent because there's a drain coming in above it. So what I've got to do is modify all this piping lower. Now we're going to cut the pipe. There, you grab that. Now in order to get our Y fitting to be able to accept the drain from both sides, the washer and the utility sink, I need to add these 45-degree angle fittings to turn it to horizontal. Now, the mark you made right here references the center of the drain coming from our utility sink. Now, I've added that line to this pipe right here, and I've extended that line over here.
First of all, I want to jump here. Look, this is a great installation video. And what I like about it, and what I mean by that is, very seldom do we walk in and the pipes are right there, exposed, wide open. Okay, so let's start with what they get right, because they get a lot right. Here's the expert explaining the importance of the proper vent. Now, this is 100% correct and perfectly explained. Now, Richard, I've met him before. He is a true professional. And this is fantastic advice for any homeowner to understand. This is the kind of quality information that makes these shows valuable. But here's the first place where TV divulges from reality. Notice how they're working in a wall that is wide open. There's no insulation to deal with, no dark spots. You can see everything. There's no other pipes to deal with. I mean, not that are in your way. And the lighting, well, when you've got a position like this, it's perfect. Now, in the real world, you're doing this job crammed in a dark, dirty crawl space with 3 other pipes in your way right between you and them, and they only happen to be right in front of your eyes. The technique they're showing is correct, but this is a perfect world technique. A service plumber needs a different set of skills to do that same job in a real lived-in house, because you're not just going to be able to open up the wall, cut everything in perfect, change this out, change this out. It takes a lot of work.
And we have to allow for the pipe to fit inside of that fitting. And that mark would be right there. The PVC saw is made just for this. Just steady, pull back and forth. Try and keep it as level as you can, too. There you go. Let the saw do the work.
If the saw just does the work, you just press the button.
Okay. All right, now we're going to get rid of this TY, and we're going to connect onto this vent using a coupling. So you can cut anywhere you want right up in here. And now with that knife, just deburr the inside of the pipe. You want to get rid of all the shavings from the cutting. Good. Now, here's our double Y fitting. Now I'm going to dry fit everything. But now I've got a pipe right here that's in the way. So in order to get around that, I can actually spin this 45, and I can add another one right over here, and that'll allow me to bring my washing machine drain in right here. And on this side, I can put a 90-degree bend, and that's my drain for the utility sink. And now I'm going to measure this piece right here. All right, so here's our piece that's going to go from a double Y.
if you're a
Now,
plumber,
to make up this last connection,
I think you already see what's coming here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm looking at this double Y. This is going to come up over and it's going to go over and P-trap for this washing machine. Isn't that going to create siphonage?
make a special coupling called a slip coupling, also called a repair coupling. So this can come right down, bring this together, and then bring it right back up again. Now the purpose of dry fitting is to be sure that it all fits together and the angles are correct. So just make a series of witness marks or reference marks. These lines are going to help us recreate everything perfectly when we glue it all together. All right, first we need to clean it. Take the purple can right there, clean the vertical sticking up.
Okay, now so many plumbers
All right, so
just
now
had
we're
a
ready
heart
to glue
attack
it.
because of that purple run right there. I know I did. Guys, look, just when you're working, especially on an exposed pipe like this, shake all the primer off of your dauber. You want to get primer on the pipe, but you don't want it running down like that. That, to me, looks very unprofessional.
Applied to the outside of the pipe and the inside of the fitting. Push it down all the way. Hold it for a 4 count. Yeah, that should do it. Good. All right, well, our waste and vent is pretty much done. Here's our wash machine standpipe coming right down into the double Y and down the drain. Here's our drain from the utility sink going into the same double Y, and we've connected back into our vent.
Plumbers, correct me, but if this is a P-trap, comes up, goes over, and then drops back down, below the top of this, I believe we've created an S-trap here.
But before we put that utility sink into place, I really want to think about doing the supply of water too.
Okay.
So right above here, we've got a hot and a cold supply lines. So shut-off valve for the hot that I'm going to turn off. It looks like there's a ball valve right above your head, so turn that 90 degrees.
Okay.
All right, good. So now I want to make sure there's no water in the pipe. I'm going to break these connections. All right. Just grab that bucket, Matt, would you?
Okay.
All right, under here. See if there's any water. Good. All right, we'll keep the bucket there because I might get a little bit of water when I cut the pipes.
Okay.
You know, Randy and I did a video the other day and showed these mini cutters. I love these things.
Okay. You know, Matt, I want to move this washing machine valve over here. So why don't you take the screwdriver, undo these 2 large screws so we can get at the ones behind. Okay, pull the valve straight off, okay? Is that Phillips screws?
Okay, that's a very unique valve set for a washing machine. Maybe they use them a lot up north. We do them here in a washing
Now
machine
with the
box.
water out of the pipe, I can unsolder these connections. All right, Matt, we have unsoldered those 2 elbows and replaced them with T's. These are all cleaned and fluxed. And here's our hot and cold going down to our utility sink. Now this is your old washing machine valve. This has a lever that turns on and off so you don't have pressure on the hoses when you're not using them. This is pretty old, so while I'm here, I'm going to replace that for you. I'm ready to solder this washing machine valve, but before I do, I want to protect these gaskets right here. So I'm going to remove them.
And guys, that's a neat trick, and I love that. I always took my angle stops apart whenever I soldered them because I didn't want to burn the washer inside. So you can see he cleaned the copper, so I'm sure he cleaned the fittings too. Now, I like this because look, or he's using just a little map gas torch. These are cheap. They're easy to get. These are normally what most plumbers don't use. Some carry them. Most plumbers carry a big B tank. Here's one thing that I do like about this. I mean, he's not using a $2,000 press tool. He's using something that homeowners can buy. Now, for a TV show with a big budget, it's great. They can afford those expensive tools. I like that he's not using it. I love that he's really soldering it, not just pressing it. But for a service plumber, it's not always the most profitable or practical solution. A pro needs to know multiple ways to solve a problem to fit the customer's budget and the specific situation. Now, you may be in here and you may be in a low level and you say, Roger, we can't use a torch because we're not getting enough oxygen. We don't have fans, whatever it is. Know your area, know where you're working and what you need to do. Sometimes a simple traditional method like this is the best business decision. Now, if you don't know how to solder, but you can rent a press gun, there you go. This is a subtle but critical point right here. The techniques they're using here perfectly fine up in New England where the show is filmed. But if you try to do that in California or Texas, it's going to look a little bit different. We put our pipes in the walls, almost everything. Now, you might fail your inspection too with the Y and the P-trap like that. Let me know where you're at and let me know what your inspector is going to say about you creating an S-trap. Plumbing codes vary dramatically across the country. What is expert advice in one state can be completely illegal installation in another. And a true professional has to be a master of their local codes.
Here's the sink, Richard.
All right, great. Now we've already attached our faucet. This faucet actually has a pull-out hand spray. And you can see the hose right here.
Okay,
When
and
you
I
flip
do
it
like
back
those
here, you
pull-out
can
hand sprays on laundry sinks like this. I think it's a great idea.
See, there's a counterweight to keep that hand spray inside the spout. We've got a hot and cold lav supplies already attached.
Now, on me too,
And underneath,
just
we've
so
already
you know,
mounted our
he's got that all the way in there. I would have put that counterweight way down here. That way it gives you more room to pull it out. You never know when you may need to pull it out to fill a bucket or something. And to be honest, what I do is I take this loop, pull the loop down, and then put it right above it on the side that's going to get pulled up. That gives it all the weight that it needs to pull it down. I just don't like limiting them to only be able to pull it out 12 inches. You never know when 3 more inches
That's what she said. That's what she said. That's what she said.
may change everything.
counterweight to keep that hand spray inside the spout. We've got a hot and cold lav supplies already attached. And underneath, we've already mounted our trap. And here's our last piece of PVC pipe. Now over here, we've soldered in our hot and cold shutoff valve, and we're ready to make our
Now,
final PVC connection.
Okay, me
So
as
why don't
a
you bring the sink
homeowner,
in?
you've got a full turn ball valve here. So this here rotates several turns. And right here, you've got a quarter turn. You got one chrome, you got one brass. Me, guys, I could never install this in a house. That's just me. I want everything to look perfect. And I would just use 2 of the same valves.
Make our final PVC connection. So why don't you bring the sink in? All right. Little tight squeeze back here, making these final connections. All right, time to clean our last connection, both the pipe and inside the fitting. All right, final glue connection.
Okay, now he looks like he's gluing that down.
All right, just snug up those washing machine hoses onto the washing machine valve.
Okay, and
Good.
me,
All right, and with that washing machine valve off, I'm now going to turn on the hot water line. All right, Matt, why don't you reach up and turn on the cold? All right, good, that's on. Let me put on the washing machine valve. All right, you do the honors, Matt.
All right, let's test this thing out. All right, look at that.
You sound surprised.
Ah, I'm not surprised at all, Richard. I'm going to clean up, though.
Get out of here. My turn.
okay, guys, look, there are a lot of good things here. There really were. So is the advice on these shows good? Absolutely. It's a fantastic resource, but it's not the whole story. Being a top-level professional isn't just about knowing the textbook technique. It's about knowing how to adapt that technique into the messy, unpredictable, and code-specific reality of the real world. Now, that ability to adapt, to problem solve on the fly, and to know which of the 5 possible solutions is the right one for this specific job, that's what we call trade wisdom. It's something that usually takes decades to acquire through trial and error. But we've designed the Becoming a Better Tradesman course to shorten that learning curve dramatically. We teach real world scenarios. We teach the diagnostics, the thought process, the advanced techniques of learning that TV doesn't have time to cover. Now, if you're ready to move beyond the basics and become a true master of your craft, click the link in the description to see what's inside the course. Now, if you enjoyed this breakdown, check out my reaction to other DIY tips or this video where we debate PEX versus copper. And I'll see you in the next video.